Hello, beautiful people of the internet. How are you doing today? My name is Jackie and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today in this video, I'm going to be tier ranking all of the books that I read so far in 2020. This was an idea that originally I wanted to do at the end of the year with every single book that I read this year. However, today when I am filming this, it is September 4th. And I have read 41 books this year. My goal for the year was 42, so clearly I'm gonna surpass that goal, probably get to 50, and that's just so many books to talk about in one video. If I talked about every single book I read this year for 1 minute, that's 41 minutes of footage. So there are some books I read this year that I'm not going to be tier ranking in this video because they were books that I read for school that I don't have super strong opinions about and that I don't think you guys would be really interested in. So I'm going to be tier ranking 35 books, and I'm going to have a screen recording so you guys can watch that as well. So this right here is the tier ranking I created, and let's go over the different levels. New all-time fave. This is just for my favorite books that I read this year, ones that I absolutely loved and that I think could now be considered among my all-time favorites, or just 5-star reads in general. Amazing, book that was really good, maybe 4-star, something that I really liked but don't like absolutely love. It's not going to be one of my new favorites. Meh is for the things that are just okay, things that maybe weren't my personal taste, books that I didn't think they were badly executed, they just weren't for me. It's a no from me. These are books that I actively disliked, and actual trash, that is for books that I just absolutely hated, and I don't think they had really any redeeming qualities. And unfortunately, I think there's going to be more things in the trash tier than I would ideally like. Again, this is all just my personal opinions, and also the books are not in the order I read them in. Originally, I did upload the covers one by one so they would be in chronological order, but then the internet cut out for a second and I lost everything. I had to do it over again, and I was not about to upload 35 files one at a time for a second time, so I just uploaded them all at once, and I was like, screw chronological order. Okay, I've been talking long enough. Let's just get started. I think one of my roommates is arguing with somebody on the phone. I just heard yelling. Okay, so first we have Robinson Crusoe, which is actually the last book that I read. I kept most books I read in school off this tier ranking, like I said. However, I did keep this one in. I read that for my senior seminar, but I kept this one in the tier ranking because I hated it. It's actual trash. I thought this book was so bad. It was boring and also really racist, and all in all, just not a good read. Next, The Boleyn King by Laura Anderson. This is the first in an alternate history series in which Anne Boleyn had a son with Henry VIII who became king. And I don't know. Did I think this one was amazing? No. Maybe I should have used like a word that was less strong than amazing for that tier. Like I should have said great or something, because this book was better than meh, but like, was it amazing? I don't know. I feel like I'm still gonna put it in that tier because it was pretty enjoyable, and though there were definite flaws, like I overall enjoyed the book and I think I might want to read the sequel. Next, The Escape Room by Megan Goldman. That one's definite meh. Like, somebody's angry. Ooh, no. The Escape Room for me was just meh because I think it was well written and I would like to read more from this author. I know her new book, Night Swim, has a lot of hype right now, and I think I would like to read that. It's just this particular book, even though it was a thriller, to me, there weren't really any plot twists or any real mystery. It was pretty straightforward. And another one that's going into the actual trash tier, The Elizas by Sarah Shepard. I hated this book. I'm gonna link my Goodreads down below, because my Goodreads review, because that makes my feelings on this book very, very clear. I keep giving Sarah Shepard more chances and she keeps disappointing me. So I guess I'm just an idiot, you know? Don't they say that insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results? Yeah, that's me with Sarah Shepard. Like, I should stop reading her books, but I'm probably gonna keep reading them anyway. I just never learn, I guess. Next is The Chain, and this one I'm gonna put on the amazing because I really did like this one a lot more than I thought I would actually, and I think it had the potential to be a new all-time fave thriller, except for one thing the author did. Like, had he just not done that one wrong thing, it would have been totally a shocking, amazing thriller. So I think that one is the amazing tier because it was really, really good, but just not quite there to be on the top tier. Testaments. I feel like this one could potentially be new all-time fave because in certain aspects, I actually liked this more than The Handmaid's Tale. I liked this one had a little more hope. But there were things about it that annoyed me, and there was one perspective that I did not like as much as the others, so I think this has to go in the amazing tier, but like the top of the amazing tier. And let's move The Chain over the Boleyn King too. Yeah. And for the actual trash tier, should the one at the top, I guess the one at the top of the tier is the one that's the least worst. So I don't know, was the Eliza's worse than Robinson Crusoe? No, I guess I'll leave it like it is. I think that's fine. Dead Girls Don't Lie by Jennifer Shaw Wolf. I read this for my lying reading vlog where I read books that had lie, liar, or lying in the title. This one, I don't think it was bad enough to be actual trash, but it's definitely going to be going on the it's a no from me because this one was underwhelming. I really didn't want to read it. I didn't have very high expectations based on how cheesy it looked, but people on Goodreads were saying, oh, the ending is amazing, stick around for the ending, and I did not think the ending was amazing. Alex and Eliza is definite meh. It wasn't absolutely awful, but it was not great, and there were some aspects of it that I didn't like, and some things I found a little bit offensive. Jar of Hearts is going on the amazing tier. This one I'm kind of conflicted about because I thought it was well executed. It was a little too dark for me, I think, but if you really like messed up books, definitely read that. That's the one for you. Cards on the Table is also going to go in the meh for me, I think, between these two. This is one of the 3 Agatha Christie's I've read so far this year, and just didn't quite have that special something something for me. It wasn't that surprising, but I didn't think it was bad. Next we have 2 Riley Sagers next to each other. Okay, and Final Girls for me is meh. I think it's gonna go here. But The Last Time I Lied, I really liked that one. Is it a new all-time fave? I don't know, but we're gonna put it pretty high up on the amazing tier. I don't know if it should go before or after The Chain. Well, whatever, it doesn't really matter. Put it there. Okay, Beloved by Toni Morrison. I think this one's gonna go to like the bottom of the amazing tier because it was so well written and I did enjoy it. I think, like, based on my personal taste, it's not going to be one of my new all-time favorites, but it was definitely a really well done book, and I would recommend it if you think that it's something you might be interested in. I definitely loved the writing in it, and it did elicit an emotional response from me, so that's why I think it deserves to be in the amazing tier. Next, we have a string of books that I did not like, but I didn't think they were absolute trash. Night Film, it's a no from me. I had really high expectations for this one and it let me down. I think it's gonna go the top of the it's a no from me. Shadow on the Crown, again. I thought this book had some really problematic aspects and I did not think the characters were well developed. I really wasn't invested in them, and even though this is a trilogy, I'm not going to continue with it because I don't really care to. So I think this one's gonna go above Dead Girls Don't Lie, but after Night Film. And Sister of the Winter Wood, again, one that had a lot of potential, but the characters I just didn't really care about, so that's gonna go here. And Her Every Fear is also in the It's a No From Me tier. This is by Peter Swanson, and The Kind Worth Killing by Peter Swanson is one of my favorite thrillers. I thought that one was amazing. And this one was a letdown. It was still well written, but again, the characters and also the romantic storyline didn't do it for me, so it's gonna go above Night Film. Well, I was about to say because there were things in Night Film that I found offensive, but I didn't think Her Every Fear was offensive. No, the romance to me was a little bit offensive. So I guess I can't say that. Next, we have another Agatha Christie. I'm sorry, I keep brushing my bangs out of my face. I'm sorry. I know I didn't realize how much I touched my hair until I started making YouTube videos and watching myself back. I am constantly brushing my side bangs out of my eyes. But The Murder of Roger Ackroyd, another Agatha Christie, and I don't know if this should go at the top of the meh tier or the bottom of the amazing tier, because, okay, let's talk this out. This book was, again, a little bit of a disappointment to me, but I don't know if that's necessarily the book's fault, because people told me this book had such a mind-blowing, amazing ending, like something you would never expect. And I predicted the ending, but that might have just been because I was told to expect a surprising ending. So I was basically suspecting the people that I thought were least likely to have done it. Does that make any sense? I think this is gonna go at the top of the meh, because I don't think it was exactly the book's fault, but it definitely did not meet my expectations. Lie to Me by J.T. Allison is, I think, gonna go here on the meh tier. The ending to me was too unbelievable. I read this also in the reading vlog where I read books with a lie in the title. Same with The Last Time I Lied. I read Dead Girls Don't Lie, Lie to Me, and The Last Time I Lied in that vlog, which I'm gonna link down below if you haven't seen it. And I have both non-spoiler and spoiler sections for each of those books in that vlog, so if you have read them and you want my spoilery opinions, you can get those in that vlog. Death on the Nile, the third Agatha Christie I read this year, and I think the third Agatha Christie is going in the meh tier. I think it's above Cards on the Table. This one, again, I found the ending a bit predictable, and in my opinion, Death on the Nile was like Murder on the Orient Express, but not as good. I would like to see the film adaptation when it comes out, though, and so I'm glad I read the book before I go to see the movie. Now, I think we might have my first entry into the new all-time fave, An Ember in the Ashes. Okay, so I only gave this one 4.5 stars, not 5, but it was like really, really good. I took off half a point because I wasn't super big on the romance, but the book was so interesting and I was really engrossed in it. I definitely want to keep reading the books, so I think that one's gonna go in the top tier. Finally, we have something in the top tier. I think even though I read so many books this year, a lot of them were just middle of the road for me, which is why we're seeing so many things in the meh tier. And we're gonna see another one because I'm putting Never Let Me Go in the meh tier. And again, kind of like Roger Ackroyd, I feel like part of the reason I didn't like this wasn't the book's fault, because I think people have told me things about the book that maybe I shouldn't have known going in, and I think maybe had I not known those things, then the book would have been more interesting for me, but because people told me those things, I sort of knew where the book was going to go. I don't know if what I just said made any sense at all, but it made sense in my head. I don't know. Next is The Guest List by Lucy Foley. This one was one that I was really hyped to read, and I did like it. So I think it's gonna go in the amazing tier, maybe Here, I don't know, did I like this more than The Chain? You know, I think The Last Time I Lied should be higher, because that one, I actually thought the ending was really good. Whereas this one gave away a little too much, and this one, it was misleading me for a while, but then I did figure out the ending at like the last minute. So maybe this should be above The Chain too. No, I think this is probably right. Yeah. So overall, I did really like the guest list. I loved the atmosphere. I loved the writing. I just thought that it wasn't shocking enough, because you know I love reading mystery thrillers and I love it when they surprise me. I love it when I get the rug pulled out from under me by the reveal at the end of a thriller. The Turn of the Key, I'm not sure whether I should put that at the bottom of the amazing tier or the top of the meh tier. I'm not as big on Ruth Ware as other people. I don't think I've really been shocked by any of the 3 books of hers that I read so far. And this one I really enjoyed the setting of it, but the ending, while shocking, was a little bit unbelievable for me. And I explained that in the wrap-up where I talked about this, which I'll try to find that and link it down below if you want some spoilers about this book. There's a spoiler and non-spoiler section. So I think I'll put that that's the bottom of the amazing tier. Like, it was still 4 stars, but it was not a new all-time fave. While we're talking about Ruth Ware, let's also talk about The Death of Mrs. Westaway, which I read this year. This one, again, I don't know if it should be the bottom of the amazing or the top of the meh, because I enjoyed the atmosphere of this one. It was interesting, but again, not really shocking. So that'll probably go under The Turn of the Key. I could possibly put it at the top of the meh, but it was a 4-star book, so it probably should be at the bottom of this tier. But I think all these books I definitely liked more than this one. Next is The Plantagenets by Dan Jones, and this one was 4 stars for me. I'm just not sure where to put it because it's a nonfiction and I don't really know how to rate it in comparison to the others. I thought it was interesting, but there were certain things that I wish he had explained more, and it's just really hard to compare a history to works of fiction. So why don't we just put it at the top of the meh? That seems good. An Anonymous Girl? It's definite meh. I think it should be like towards the bottom of the meh, because this book to me is just really not memorable, very unremarkable. Like, it wasn't actively bad in any way, but a year from now, am I going to remember this book? I don't think so. I read it just a couple weeks ago, and already in my wrap-up I was struggling to remember the names of the characters and what happened. I'm just not sure that should go above or below Never Let Me Go. I'll just leave it there for now. Maybe later we can reevaluate. Next we have A Stranger in the House by Shari LaPena, and I could put this in the actual trash tier because I really didn't like this book, but I did end up giving it 2 stars because it did do one thing that I did really like. So I think it's gonna go at the bottom of the it's a no from me, because overall it was bad, but there was one thing about it that I did enjoy. Now, on a more positive note, Davy Jones and the Six is going in the new all-time fave. I really, really liked this book a lot. Gave it 5 stars. I don't think I liked it as much as Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, but it was really, really good. I enjoyed it, and I think it's definitely going to be a book that I'm going to remember. My Plain Jane is one that I'm torn about because this for me was a 3-star book, but I feel like I liked it better than some of the other ones in the meh tier, but did I like it enough to put it in the amazing tier? I don't think so. I think it's probably just going to be middle of the road in the meh tier. Like, I think right there is probably good for it. I mean, I thought the book was fun. I think I'll remember it, but there were certain things that it did that I didn't like, and some things that I found a bit predictable. So I think this is a pretty good place to put that. Yeah, very middle of the road. It had strengths and flaws for sure. Now, The Girls by Emma Cline is a love it or hate it kind of book. And if you've seen the videos where I talked about this, you know that I hated this book. Might be the worst book that I've read this year. I really just did not like anything about it. Yeah, you know, maybe I should put Robinson Crusoe after the Elizas. No, I don't know. All of these were terrible. Like, they're all just equally crap. Like, none of them were good. We're getting down to the nitty-gritty here. Unfortunately, we have a lot of meh. Pretty accurate description of my reading year. Now, Sometimes I Lie is very on par with The Chain, I think, because this could have been a new all-time fave thriller. Except at the ending of this book, I think the author tried to do too much, and I wish she had just reeled it back in, because I think because she did so much, had she taken a little bit out, it would have come across like a genius ending. But because she was throwing so many twists upon twists upon twists and not developing them properly, it felt unnecessary, and it felt like she was just adding twists for the sake of adding twists. Like, she was just trying everything. And I think it would have been better had she simplified the ending. I think it would have been more impactful. So it's top of the amazing tier, but not a new all-time fave. Here's another controversial opinion for you. The Silent Patient? It's just very meh for me. I mean, maybe I just overhyped it in my mind. My expectations were too high, but this, to me, did not live up to the hype. And everybody was talking about how so good and so shocking it was, and I didn't think it was shocking. It wasn't bad though, so I would definitely read more Alex Michaelides books. If he comes out with more thrillers in the future, I would definitely check those out. Part of me just wants to put The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes in the new all-time fave tier because I see so many people hating on this book, and I'm kind of defensive about it. Like, this book was good. It's a book that you have to think about and that I personally felt like had a lot to say, and I think some but not all, the people who hated it because I don't think they got the point. Now, that's not saying everybody who hated it is wrong. Some people, you know, maybe it's just not their style, but some of the arguments I see for why this book was bad, in my opinion, are just totally missing the point. Like, people saying, I didn't like The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes because I still think Snow is horrible and I don't like him. Well, you weren't supposed to like him. That's the point. He is supposed to come across as a privileged, like, stuck-up white boy who uses other people to his own ends. You're not supposed to sympathize with him. That's the point. So part of me wants to put it on new all-time fave just because I'm kind of protective over this book. I actually think in 2021 I might reread it just so I can make a whole in-depth video about why this book is actually good. But if I'm being reasonable, I don't think it's a new all-time fave. Like, it wasn't as good as the original Hunger Games trilogy, which is an all-time fave. I love the original trilogy, but I think I'll put it at the top of the amazing tier because this book was actually good, okay? You guys are just mean. That's going to be the title of the review video that I make of it. The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes is actually good. You guys are just mean. There you go. Look out for it in 2021. I'm telling you. And finally, oh, this worked out so well. We get to end this video on a positive note. Circe by Madeline Miller. New all-time fave. This was the best book that I read this year by far. I absolutely loved this book. I'm actually taking a class right now on writing literary review, and for an assignment I have to write a review of any book that I choose, and I'm writing it on Circe because I absolutely love this book and it's one of my new all-time favorites. So there you go. We didn't go in chronological order, but we gotta end on an all-time fave. So, you know, all in all, that's pretty good. So there you go, guys. That is my tier ranking of all the books that I've read so far in 2020. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more from me. I post new videos every single Wednesday. My social media links are down below if you want to follow me on Tumblr, Instagram, or be my friend on Goodreads. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a fun rest of your day. Bye, and I'll see you in the next video.